So if you don't know already, Prime Minister Carney held a press conference today to let us know how the government is going to help the steel industry make up that lost 30% from lower orders from the States, thanks to, you guessed it, tariffs. Well, the first thing he's going to do is protect the Canadian steel industry by creating a cap. Because right now, I guess we have a very open economy, and that is a danger for dumping. So companies that were selling into the States and no longer getting orders from the States are now shifting to Canada and calling on customers in Canada to see if they can sell their steel here. So what Carney's doing is he's saying, okay, capping it at 2024 levels. So what you brought in 2024, we're going to stake with that. But anything over and above that, we're going to put a tariff on. And these are with free trade countries. And Canada has a lot of free trade agreements across the globe. If we don't have a free trade agreement, he's putting in tariffs right away to stop any sort of non-Canadian company from bringing steel into Canada. That's great. So we have a protected economy. But how can we make up that 30% from lost orders from the States? Well, the government is going to be providing some funding or access to loans through the BDC to help small and medium-sized steel companies to have liquidity that they need in order to still be around in a couple of years when shovels hit the dirt and national projects start being built, because priority will be given to Canadian steel to complete those projects. What other ways can steel companies in Canada make up that 30%? And I am sure that their salespeople are on the phone constantly calling their steel dealers and steel yards asking, hey, do you need any more steel? Do you need any more steel? Well, so there may be some industry missing from between steel production and consumer need. Because instead of going to the States so that they can create whatever steel part or piece and then importing it back into Canada, there's going to be there's going to be businesses that need to replace those businesses in the States, because that cost is going to be way too high for Canadian companies to purchase those steel-made products and goods that come from the States. So think about how your company maybe you've got steel adjacent. Maybe you have a product that you make in one thing, but they could have a steel component. Or maybe you know of a company down in the States that you buy your parts from, or your steel goods from, that you can maybe create a new business here in Canada to bridge between steel production and consumer need. I saw a post on social media. One guy asked if he could buy a dumb refrigerator. Where can he find a dumb fridge? Because he was sick and tired of his smart fridge continually breaking down. Because the computer, yes, smart fridges have computers, and the computer component continued to break, and he needed to constantly replace something or get a new fridge. There's maybe a whole industry there. That's something to look at. So figure out how your company can maybe pivot a little bit. Now, if you're in high school and you're wondering about your career in the future, steel is going to be in high productivity in a couple of years when defense projects and those national projects come up. Maybe you want to be a welder. Welders are going to be in high demand in a couple of years with those national projects coming up. So think about the things that you can do in the next 2 years to ensure that you have the criteria or the prerequisites to get hired on by companies that either use steel or the steel companies themselves. Well, until next time, peel out.